This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets. Russia's exports of oil, natural gas and coal, a key source of revenue for the Kremlin's coffers, have been in the spotlight in recent months against the backdrop of Moscow's broader standoff with the West over military alliance NATO's expansion. Political tensions between the West and Russia have boosted oil and gas prices. Russia's annual oil production rose by more than 2% last year to 10.52 million barrels per day, BPD, thanks to the easing of output cuts by the OPEC Plus group of leading oil producers after a pandemic-induced decline in 2020.
Oil prices rose for a fourth day on Wednesday after a fire on a pipeline from Iraq to Turkey briefly stopped flows, increasing concerns about an already tight short-term supply outlook. Brent crude futures were up 81 cents, or 0.9%, to $88.32 a barrel at 14:32 GMT. The benchmark contract earlier touched $89.05, its highest since October 13, 2014. U.S. West Texas Intermediate, WTI, crude futures climbed 97 cents, or 1.14%, to $86.40 a barrel. WTI earlier jumped to $87.08, its highest since October 9, 2014.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
China will force key industrial sectors and regions to take action to measure greenhouse gas emissions as part of a new initiative to improve data quality and oversight, according to an Environment Ministry document reviewed by Reuters. Under the pilot program, some of China's biggest coal-fired power providers, steel mills and oil and gas producers must draw up comprehensive new greenhouse gas monitoring plans by the end of this year. It comes as China, the world's biggest greenhouse gas emitter, needs to beef up its measurement of carbon emissions in line with its monitoring of air pollutants to meet a pledge by President Xi Jinping to become carbon neutral by around 2060, say experts and environmentalists.
UAE Energy Minister Suhail Al-Mazrouei said on Wednesday that he was not worried about the short term when asked about predictions that oil prices will rise above $100. The price of benchmark Brent crude gained 0.33% on Wednesday to $87.76 per barrel, as oil rose for a fourth day as an outage on a pipeline from Iraq to Turkey added to worries about an already tight supply outlook amid geopolitical troubles involving Russia and the United Arab Emirates. I will never give a prediction on a price. We will continue to do our work of increasing the supply of 400,000 barrels of oil per day, he told reporters on the sidelines of the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week.
Next, we have the top news in metal.
China's magnesium exports nearly doubled in November from the same month a year earlier as production ramped up alongside the lifting of restrictions on power use by energy-intensive industries, easing fears of shortages in Europe. China supplies around 85% of the world's magnesium, a key element in aluminium alloys used to make auto parts. The country exported 36,160 tons of high-purity unwrought magnesium in November, Chinese customs data showed, compared with 24,329 tons in October and 18,829 tons in November 2020.
The United States and Britain on Wednesday agreed to launch discussions aimed at resolving their trade dispute over steel and aluminum, the countries said in a joint statement. No specific date was given for the talks, but discussions will address steel and aluminum excess capacity and the deployment of effective solutions, including appropriate trade measures, to preserve our critical industries, officials. We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector. A senior official at Indonesia's biggest palm oil group said on Wednesday the government was currently drafting a plan aimed at limiting shipments of the edible oil to tame domestic cooking oil prices, remarks the Trade Ministry swiftly denied. Togar Sitanggang, deputy chairman of GAPKI, told a parliamentary hearing that a plan was already in the works to restrict exports by as much as 20%. He did not elaborate, or say how GAPKI learned of the information. The Trade Ministry is drafting up a plan to limit exports. What we heard as the regulation is being written up, he said.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.